Alright, so just continuing on with the story with the GTS. So this is when I picked up sponsorship for the Avenue. So the Avenue was a building project back in the day. It was a pretty special car. We got some sign writing done for it. Did a few more upgrades on it as well. So we just continued to do circuit racing and had a lot of fun doing it, mind you. It was very entertaining to do it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So it come up very pretty special looking car, and had a lot of modifications done at this time. So we had engine, oil coolers, we had coolers on everything, massive radiator. We went and got the car fitted with a liquid injection LPG, because that was part of the Avenue's thing, is to be nice and green. So part of the arrangement, we went and got some LPG, liquid injection LPG fitted, as well as an 8 throttle body intake at the same time. Pretty unique, pretty special sort of arrangement. By then it was looking pretty special. We had a good deal for about 5 years. We did sponsorship, did racing, promotion days, and many other things. So we got side skirts put on it. Obviously already had the big supercar wing on it, supercar front end. She's pretty tough looking rig by this stage. Successful on the track as well. We had a really good run. So you can see I put Monaro headlights on it there, you can tell. That was to get rid of the glass lights, be a bit safer on the track. It was a pretty good thing. Had a lot of fun. Obviously there was wear and tear and all that, and that's my other car at the time. It was a HSV Avalanche, a VZ. So she was a nice rig, and it was a nice family of cars too, mind you. That was a pretty nice setup. That's just us at the car shows. We did sponsorship days. That's just a photo of the 8 throttle body intake. So that's a Hurricane setup. So basically the green injectors are the LPG, and then there was petrol injectors underneath. And it had the carbon fibre loop setup and an 8 throttle body intake on it. So we got our battery isolators fitted, among other things. So we started doing some prettying up, so put some pretty gear on the pulleys, looking after some of the valve flow. We had a bit of bypass issues, mainly because it was revving the engine so hard. It needed a rebuild. I did go through a couple of engines in my time. So we fitted big radiators to it, big PWR radiator to it, cooling fans, you name it, to try and offset the temperature. Temperature was probably the biggest issue out of everything we did, was temperature. 3 to 4 laps, you had to back off on revs, otherwise it just cooked. So there was a couple of times where it got pretty close, and I think that was probably part of one of the things to do with the rings not in very good nick for a while. Another time when I wrecked one of the engines was there was a leak on one of the fuel injectors, the petrol injectors under here, so I had to take some of the rails off here, intakes off, and during that time somehow one of the little nuts from here fell into one of the trumpets, and that sat inside the valve gear for a while, and then eventually went into the engine and ate itself. Made a hell of a knocking noise at 7,500 RPM and killed it. And huge plume of white smoke came out the back, so that destroyed that engine. But it is what it is. We did a lot of prettying up stuff, carbon fibre bits and covers for everything. Did a lot of work on the suspension as well. So we really started beefing up the suspension. We got some basically much higher spec suspension. We had originally had the tines in there, but I needed something with a lot more strength, a lot more rigidity and spring rates to handle the corner loads we were putting on it at the time. So we went and got some better suspension and springs for it. And you can see the big strut brace across the top, massive big 1.5 inch strut brace. So yeah, and we also got all the prettying up stuff, all the nice and pretty bits and pieces you do. Yeah, so Harrop, they did a lovely job on the car. It was advertised at 320 real world kilowatts, but I don't think it ever achieved that. I did a couple of dyno runs, and I think temperature was pulling power out of it constantly. Yeah, the Monaro lights. So yeah, we got a roll cage put in it. Well, I put a roll cage in it. Yeah, so we carried on, put a lot more safety stuff. We started fitting, got the new shifter put in there. We got a magnesium, I think M56 transmission put in it. So basically close ratio, first through to fourth, and then fifth and sixth were standard. So that's just to give it a bit more punch off the corners and all that. So yeah, it was all good. So I went and got racing seats fitted in it. So that was just a bit more, because I got sick of rolling off the side of the seats. It was just hard to hang on to it. But so once we got the race seats fitted, geez, it makes a remarkable difference on comfort when you're in a car going around pretty high corner loads. So there's all the rear roll cage. So it was a 6-point roll cage set up in there. So yeah, it's just some more photos. That's more photos of the engine data monitoring we did. Got fitted, so that was pretty big back in the day, that stuff. And just a few more on the roll cage. Yeah, so I did get the battery moved to the boot because I got sick of burning through batteries every 6 months, putting a new battery in it, because it was obviously the temperature of the engine was so hot it just wrecked the battery. So yeah, so that's just some ongoing bits and pieces. They're not exactly in order because obviously I'm not. It's a big job to sort through all these photos. Yeah. So basically, the car maintained as a registered car. It stayed registered for all those years while it was circuit racing, and it registered up until the day. The kids always came to the track with us. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. You know, the heat was always what it was. So this is back when we were doing the street car shootout. So we actually did it in race mode against other street cars, other high performance street cars. And we did racing, side by side racing. You know, so it was a good thing. Had a lot of fun. So I'll just let it go for a lap. Just one lap and then I'll stop it. These videos are actually on my YouTube channel already, so if you want to have a listen to the original sound, go for your life. You can see the speedo thing up's a little bit delayed, so it does have a bit of a delay on it. Good old turn 14 Hidden Valley, pretty hard to get right. Yeah, there's always a hard corner, that one, off camber, and pretty hard to get proper traction. So by the end of the straight, I was doing around 215 k's an hour, and then you brake down to about 85 into the corner. You can see the delay. I was actually doing about 80 by that time. So anyway, yeah, so we'll just move on.